The Air Force Academy Falcons versus the Colorado State Rams. What's going to happen? Let's take a look at another preview numbers, and I'll have a prediction at the end of this. So first, let's look at the schedule. Air Force is a perfect 7-0. Now, they've been in a couple of close games, but they've always managed to scrap their way to a win even in those, whereas Colorado State is at 3-4. So they're bringing a losing record into this game. They've had one common opponent. That's the Utah State Utes. And on that one, Air Force defeated them, the Utes, more than a month ago by 18 points. Colorado State actually lost by 20 points on that game. So one common opponent, don't know what it says about this game, but that's the number. Let's get right into the offense. If you take a look at passing first, that's where Colorado State excels. They chuck the ball 45 times per game. They average 7.5 yards on every one of those attempts. And if they catch the ball, they're going to get close to 12 yards. They're ranked number 6 in the nation, so that's a significant number in this matchup. Air Force, on the other hand, is ranked 130 in the nation in passing, but that kind of belies the fact that they complete the ball about 73% of the time. And not only do they complete it without an interception. They get about 26 yards per completion. And when they pop the ball, it surprises everybody. Like I said last week, it surprises the fans, it surprises most of the members of the team, and it surprises the parents that are watching. Colorado State has a decent 12 yards per completion. That'll get them a first down if they can protect the quarterback, and if the quarterback doesn't throw an interception. We'll get more into that in just a second. Let's get into rushing. Rushing is where Air Force excels. They're ranked number 1 in the nation. They average 306 yards per game rushing. Last week it was 334 yards per game, but their mirror image brothers at Navy, who understand this option attack, managed to slow them down. Air Force gains 5.25 yards per carry and has only lost 5 fumbles. Again, the number was better than that until last week when they lost 2 fumbles against Navy. Colorado State, on the other hand, is ranked 129th in rushing. They don't rush the ball that often, and when they do, they're not very successful, averaging under 3 yards a carry. And even though they don't rush the ball that often, they've put the ball on the ground 4 times and lost it, giving them a fumble rate of 1 every 31 carries, which would mean they lose the ball once every 2 or 3 games because they don't rush that often. Have I mentioned that? Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, Air Force is nationally ranked number 2 in the nation in total defense. It's the yards against are only 223 yards per game, whereas in terms of total defense, Colorado State is ranked 129th. Only their brothers in Boulder, Colorado, come in worse than them in terms of defending. They give up a hefty 467 yards per game, more than twice what Air Force gives up. If you break the defense down, pass is the important number, seeing as how Colorado State passes 45 times a game. Air Force is ranked nationally 28, still in the upper tier of pass defense, whereas Colorado State is ranked 123rd. Will that low ranking come into play against Air Force, who only throws the ball 5 times per game on average? I'll say maybe. And you can see against the run, Air Force is ranked number 2. Will that come into play? Probably not. Colorado State doesn't run the ball, whereas against the run, Colorado State is ranked number 89. Definitely a number to watch. When you get towards the bottom tier of defenses, the numbers, the bandwidth between 89th and 130 is very, very thin. So Colorado State will have their hands full stopping the number 1 rushing offense in the nation. Points per game, Colorado gives up 34. Air Force gives up or miserly 13. Comparing the special teams, nothing to see here. Move on. Other significant numbers, if you look at the Football Power Index ranking, Air Force is number 47 in the nation. Colorado State's down there at number 111. Here's a surprising number, though. Despite the fact that Air Force rarely throws, the passer rating is phenomenal, 280 for Air Force. And it's fairly low for a passing team for Colorado State at 137. The touchdowns per interception are also a significant number, with Air Force having 5 passing touchdowns. Usually the receiver's all by himself as everybody's on the defense is crowding the middle, and there's the long run. On the Colorado State side, they've had 17 touchdowns through the air, but also thrown 13 interceptions. Penalties is another place where I think the game will be impacted, and the national rank for penalties for Air Force is 2. Their brothers in Army are ranked number 1. Only 2 teams in the nation are worse than Colorado State when it comes to penalties. Colorado State averages 9 per game, and that could be a factor in this blustery game that's coming up on Saturday. Average time of possession is in favor of Air Force. The offense is designed to keep the opponent's offense off the field, and Air Force averages more than half the game holding the ball, whereas Colorado State has the ball less than half of the time in a game. If we take a look at the key matchups, Air Force has the number 1 rush offense. They'll be going against the number 89 rush defense of Colorado State. That key matchup is a clear advantage for the Air Force Academy Falcons. Also, Air Force has the number 2 total defense, and they'll be going against Colorado State's number 51 total offense. Another clear advantage for the Air Force. As looking at Colorado State's advantages, they have the number 6 pass offense in the nation, and Air Force the number 28 pass defense. I think that'll be a clear advantage to Colorado State. And then finally, ironically, the Air Force's lightning pass, and I call it a lightning pass because every time they throw the ball, it's like lightning has struck. There's just as much chance you'll get hit by lightning as Air Force will attempt to pass. And they're going against the number 123 ranked pass defense. I think that's going to be a clear advantage for Air Force. What are the key to victories? Well, on the Air Force side, 1,000 cuts to kill the clock. Up the middle, up the middle, up the middle. If Colorado State can't stop the up the middle, it's the only play we're going to see. Pressure. Keep pressure on the Colorado State quarterback. To make him throw mistakes instead of touchdown passes, and Colorado State is willing to do that. The 17 touchdowns to 13 interceptions number clearly shows that. Let's go back to that lightning strike. Use it. Throw the passes when Colorado State crowds the middle, because they are going to crowd the middle, because that's the only way to stop Air Force, is to stop the dive up the middle. They know that. Their parents know that. Their grandparents know that. People in Bangladesh know that. You got to stop Air Force up the middle. And the key to victory for Air Force is control the middle. So what about the keys to victory for Colorado State? Well, they got to plug the hole. Enough said on that. They need to carry protection. In other words, throw the ball out of bounds, protect the ball, don't throw interceptions, don't throw incomplete passes. And they need to keep it above the waist. Avoid the penalties. Penalties will stop their drives, will put them in second and third and long situations. Avoid the penalties. And then wear your shorts. They're good at throwing the short pass, 7.5 yards per completion. The snowy, gusty forecast favors short passes. What's the betting line? Well, Air Force is a 2-score favorite in Vegas. And in terms of the ESPN kabuki dance machination of numbers, they give Air Force an 84% chance of winning. Now, last week, I didn't check the weather. If I did, maybe my prediction against Navy, although it was fairly accurate, would have changed slightly. This time, this old fighter pilot is going to check the weather. And game time weathers and the weather guessers say will be 25 degrees. It's going to be cold and it's going to be snowy. The wind is going to be a steady 7 miles per hour with gusts up to 14. So I don't know how it'll affect the kicking, but certainly will affect the passing. And as we've already seen, Colorado State passes the ball 45 times per game. So they're going to have to keep that in mind. Will it affect the Air Force run? Probably not. I think the line will have leverage in that weather. I think, if anything, going up the middle is going to favor the Air Force Academy. If they have to go around the outside, who knows how the footing's going to be. What's my prediction? Air Force is going to take this game. I have Colorado State winning in a way. They average 34 points given up per game. I got Air Force at 28 points. Colorado State, I'm going to give them 14. This could easily go 35, 42 points for Air Force or 21, 28 points for Colorado State. The weather is a big what-if factor, but I think numbers given what they are, Air Force wins this one. Here's hoping that everybody makes it through the game without injury. People have an enjoyable time at the game. You enjoy watching the game, and have a good week ahead.
We're going to have a little excitement with that T-33